Alright, what's going on, legends? So this is going to be the first video on the channel. I just got the camera in. This is a Insta360 X4. So we're going to check out and see what it's capable of doing and what kind of footage I can get. So we're going to go out on a little ride and kind of check it out. If you don't know me, my name's Kraken, and I ride with the American Veterans Motorcycle Club. So, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the shit show, if you would. And we'll see what kind of trouble I can get in, and what kind of footage I can give you good people. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is motorcycle riding and why people should do it, right? So I have been riding motorcycles for a little over 20 years. Started when I was a kid, started riding dirt bikes and three-wheelers when those were a thing before they became illegal. And I've been riding ever since. I rode dirt bikes, and then I rode sport bikes, and I stunted those for a while when I was in the service. Got into a couple of really bad accidents. Got a little messed up and spent a long time in the hospital riding sport bikes, but I was doing dumb stuff. So when I got out of the hospital, I switched to cruisers, and I've been riding Harleys ever since, and I love it, man. There's nothing more in my life than I love than my wife, my children, and riding motorcycles. And a lot of times my wife would tell you that I love riding motorcycles more than I love her and the kids, which, you know, I'm not going to argue that point, because there's a lot of times where I just need to get on the bike and go. But motorcycles have changed my life for the better. They make me a better person. A lot of people think that they're dangerous and think that they're, you know, which they are. I mean, obviously they're more dangerous than riding in a cage, because you've got less protection on a motorcycle. But as long as you're not doing dumb stuff and you're not risking things that you don't need to be risking, it's pretty safe. I mean, the accident ratio for motorcycles compared to cars is extremely different, but that's because there's so many more cars on the road than there are motorcycles, so the ratio is going to be different. But I'll tell you that just because you go down on a motorcycle doesn't mean that you're going to get really hurt. I crashed lots of motorcycles in my life, and I'm still here. So I mostly wear gear and protection everywhere that I go. I've always got a full face helmet. I never don't wear a full face helmet. That's my preference. I know a lot of people like to have the wind in their face, but I've been hit in the face with a June bug, and that sucks, let me tell you. I've been hit with rocks, bugs, debris from cars from the road, pretty much everything. At the club, we travel across the country all the time and go all over the place, which you'll see on this channel, because I've got a lot more coming. I'm going to be doing this full time. I'm an insurance adjuster, so I can't do it full time per se, but I'm going to be doing videos and recording everywhere that I go and everything that I do, just because I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and so I decided to pull the trigger. So here we are. As you can see, it's cold as fuck outside. It's about 20 degrees currently. We had snow here recently. The roads are still pretty good. They're pretty decent. I mean, there's not too much that's melted. It's been 2 days since everything melted off, so the roads are in pretty good shape. Of course, we're in Missouri. If we were in somewhere like Oklahoma, shit, man, those roads suck. Of course, there's other other states that they don't take care of their roads all that great. But Missouri's not too bad. But this country's beautiful, man. You go all over the country, and it's really, really neat to ride and experience on a motorcycle. And there's a lot of places where it's just riding a motorcycle it's something that a lot of people are afraid to do, and a lot of people don't understand why the culture is the way that it is, and why we are the way that we are, and why we risk it all the time. But I love it, man. I wouldn't ask for anything else. Being part of a club is honestly something that saved my life. And I've talked to and spoke to a lot of members in my club that were in the same boat. And that's a story for another time. But I wish everybody would just try it. Just get on a motorcycle and try it. You don't have to start with something big. I'm riding a Lowrider S, a 2020 Lowrider S. I've beefed up the motor. It's got a 131 cubic inch engine in it. Comes stock with a 114 cubic inch engine. And I got embarrassed one night by one of my club buddies who had the same motorcycle, but he had a stage 4 117, and he walked away from me, and I wasn't having any of that. So my ego wouldn't let me get beat by him. So I went and dropped a bunch of money and fixed this motorcycle up and got it to where it is now, and it's a monster, and I love it. I love every bit of this fucking motorcycle. It's the second love of my life. My wife's amazing, and she's always number one, but this thing it's right there. It's a close second. If my wife wasn't such an amazing person, this would be number one for sure. And I would like to get a touring bike, but I've rode this motorcycle. It's a Softail. So I've rode it across country. Last year we went to, where did we go? Oh, we went to Maryland. We went to Maryland for our club nationals, and one of my really close brothers and myself, Custom, we rode the trip back from Maryland back here in a day, and it was a little over 1,100 miles. And let me tell you, that sucks. But it's a great experience, and it's something that I think everybody should do at least once in their life with somebody that's close to them, if you don't do it by yourself. We did it just to say that we've done it and to have that experience, but it's an awesome experience for people to go through, and it's kind of the trials and tribulations, and it's pushing yourself and pushing your body beyond the limits of just wanting to quit. And that's something that not a whole lot of people can say that they've done in their life. And I'm one of them. And I'm sure I'll do it again. I'm hoping to do it on a touring bike next time and not a Softail, because even though it's a Softail, my ass was in bad shape, let me tell you. It was hard to get up off of the motorcycle after about mile 800. And this thing needs to get gas all the time, so it's I get about, with the motor and everything that I've got done to it, if I'm doing the speed limit, which is rare, I can get about 130 miles to a full tank. Before I did the upgrades on the motor, I could get almost 200. So it cut it down quite a bit, but boy, is she fun. It's got all the power that I could ever ask for, that I could ever need. Guy ran up on me the other day in a Mustang, and I walked away from him. Won't go into detail about what he rolled up on me and what speed we were going, but I'll tell you, his jaw dropped when he saw me walking away from him out of his windshield. So it's fun, man. I love it. And it's just a good time. It's something that it's hard to put into words, and it's hard to explain what it does for an individual. And there's anybody out there will tell you who rides motorcycles that it's not about being dangerous or being safe. It's something else. It's not about the adrenaline. I mean, for some it is. I like adrenaline rushes, and I do dangerous things and things that I probably shouldn't, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. It doesn't have to be for everybody. But it's a fun time, man. I challenge everyone to at least try it a couple, once or twice. Find somebody who has a motorcycle that's not too big. Start on something small. But you should try it. I think everybody should try it because it'll open your eyes up to a whole new experience, and it's a great time. It'll do a lot of things for you as an individual and your person, as a different experience, and kind of not just that, but like also understanding where everybody else that does this all the time and that rides all the time, where they come from and why they do it. Like, you'll get a better understanding. And so I have people ask me all the time why I get out in the cold like this and it's 20 degrees and and I'm riding, and why I ride all year long. I ride in the rain. I try not to ride in the snow. I try not to ride on the ice. But sometimes, man, if it's been 3 or 4 days since I rode, I'm gonna go. And that's just me. And that's not for everybody, but that it doesn't have to be for everyone either. But it's a great time. It's always fun. It's always an experience, man. You experience new things all the time, and it's something that nobody can really explain to you what kind of feeling it gives you and what it does for you as a person. You just got to do it. You got to do it for yourself. It's an awesome experience, man. Um, and it's something that's for you as an individual. I think everyone should do it, especially the community. The community of motorcycle riders. I mean, there could be assholes, but there's assholes everywhere. But most of the people that ride motorcycles are a close community. They even guys that are on Harleys or sport bikes, or the little Groms and adventure bikes. I mean, everybody for the most part gets along in the entire community, and that's something that is rare, where you have and it's not a massive group of people, but it's quite a few people, and there's always events, there's always things that you can go to, that you meet people from all over the country. You guys will see on my channel later on this year, if you continue to watch. We're going to go to Sturgis. Our nationals is in Gillette, Wyoming this year, so we'll be going up to Gillette the weekend before Sturgis, and then going to Sturgis and traveling around the north, along with everywhere else that I'm going to go this year. But you'll see the community and the people, and I'll have video of all that stuff for everybody. It's an awesome experience, man. It's a great time. And like I said, the community is amazing. It's the people that you meet, and everywhere that they've been, and everything that they do, and just talking to them, and having conversations with different people. And for a lot, they think that there's a big barrier of entry to get into motorcycle riding, or they're scared because they don't have the funds, or they're scared to wreck their first motorcycle. And you don't have to be worried about it, really. I mean, there's so many different motorcycles that you could get started on. I mean, you could start on a 200 or 300 for cheap. You could buy one on Facebook Marketplace for a couple $1,000s. You could find one at an auto auction or at a bike auction for a couple $100. And then, as long as it doesn't have any issues, and you know a mechanic, or you find a mechanic, or you find a buddy who rides motorcycles, and they can kind of look at it before you make the purchase, but you can get a motorcycle for next to nothing, and it's a form of transportation. I was in Arizona for a year going to Motorcycle Mechanics Institute for Harley Davidson, and that was this bike right here was my only form of transportation. Not for that year. I mean, for the beginning of that year, I had a 2004 Super Glide, which is a Harley Davidson Dyna that I built, but I got that bike for $2,000, and I put a couple $1,000s into it, building it up, customizing it out. And when I sold that motorcycle, I sold it for enough to put a big down payment on this motorcycle. I ended up selling that motorcycle for $15,000, and that might be hard to believe, but people in California have a lot of money and not a whole lot of sense. So I sold it to a kid, and he wanted a Dyna, he wanted a stunt bike, he wanted a bike that he could trick out, and so they bought it. It is what it is. You know, sometimes you just find the right deal with the right individual who's willing to pay the money. So it's all fun, man. And a lot of people will talk to you about how you ride, or, you know, say that you should do this or you should do that. You know, it's, to me, I'm gonna ride the way that I want to ride. You know, I take people's advice on things I should or shouldn't do, but as you can probably tell, I just do me, man. And that's one of the things I love about riding motorcycles, is that the community, you know, there's going to be, of course, you got, you know, the Emmy Noob, who's a huge sport bike following and stuff like that. He hates Harley Davidson riders, apparently. I mean, you look at all his videos, and he's got a lot to say about Harley Davidsons and guys that ride cruisers, but that's okay. Everyone's got their opinion. I mean, a lot of people judge. A lot of people don't understand why others do certain things, and that's all right. You don't have to understand it. The nice thing about most of the community in the Harley Davidson world, and even the Indian riders, they really don't care what others think. And that's the funny part, because everybody's got something to say about them, or about riding, or about riding Harleys, or spending so much money on these things, and we just don't care. We do it because we love it, and it's something that, for most of us, it'll be there until the day that we die. There's a lot of guys that, you know, have been in accidents, have lost limbs, and the second that they're able to get back onto a bike, they'll get back onto a bike, because it's one of those things that, it's like tattoos. You know, I got my first tattoo when I was really young, and it just kind of became one of those things that I just kept going, because I like the experience. I like having the artwork on me, and some of it is a reaction. You know, I like the reaction that I get when people see the artwork and they're like, "Oh, I like that," or "That's cool," or, you know, "I like your arm, I like your sleeve, I like your leg, I like, you know, whatever tattoos that I've got." And it's almost like a talking point, or a conversation starter in a lot of cases. And of course, there's a lot of people that, you know, back when I first started getting tattoos, they weren't as popular as they are now. Now it's rare for somebody to not have a tattoo, but of course I'm rambling on about tattoos, and this is supposed to be about why I think you should ride a motorcycle, but yeah.
I think I think everybody should get a bike. I think that they should try it. Even they got electric bikes now, which those are stupid expensive, most of them, if they're worth anything. But uh, yeah, you can get into it for cheap if you want to. If it's something that you're interested in. Uh, or if you've got a friend that's got a little Grom or a little sport bike or even a Sportster Harley Davidson 883 or 1200. Those are really good bikes to start on. I mean, they're inexpensive. They don't have a ton of power if they're not built out, but you know they can do highway speeds. You're not going to be in trouble by going too slow. Some people like to start on mopeds, which I mean it's something for sure. Oh, gotta get gas. But yeah, just testing out the camera and testing out how it works, seeing how it links up with my Cardo Pack Talk, seeing what kind of audio we get out of it, how it sounds. This will be the first video on the channel, so it'll be interesting to see how it kind of progresses and builds. It's actually not too cold out. Feels quite nice. Oh man. Oh, this thing is fun, man. one of the things that you gotta keep in mind when you're riding a motorcycle is you always gotta pay attention to what's going on around you. And that's another reason why I think that everyone should ride a motorcycle is it makes you more conscious about the things that are happening around you when you're driving. Even when you're driving a car, you'll notice that after you ride a motorcycle, you're more conscious about everybody else around you and all the things that are happening. You're more conscious about timing, about depth perception and when you can see things happening in front of you and paying attention to the things that are happening in front of you. You just pay attention to everything more often. And it's hard to see. You can't see my eyes behind this windshield, but my eyes are constantly moving all over the place. Even though my head doesn't move, my eyes are moving. I'm constantly looking at things that I think might, become a problem. And it just makes you a better driver all around, because you're more at risk on a motorcycle, and you gotta pay more attention. I mean, that's how people get killed. They don't pay attention. And most people in cars, they just they're doing their own thing. They're not paying attention to what's going on around them. They're on their phones, reading a book, doing their makeup. They're just not, they got all their own stuff going on, and they're not really paying attention to what's going on. There's been, I can't even count the times that people pulled out right in front of me. I mean, right there. Even on a highway, somebody crossing a highway, I'm doing 75, 80 miles an hour, and they just pull right out in front of me. Shoot, last year I had a guy who was towing a boat, pulled across a 3-lane highway, took up the entire highway, and there I am, doing 75 miles an hour up this highway. And I had to hit my brakes and get a little squirrely. And it's just, guys aren't paying attention. They're not looking. They're people on motorcycles. You're harder to see. You're not a big vehicle. I've got 3 headlights on my phone. Not on my phone, but on my motorcycle. So the lighting is a little bit better than most. But I got it that way on purpose because I want people to see me. People to know that I'm coming.